Well, in a classic case of David versus Goliath, one local businessman has had an extraordinary win against the tech giant Google by forcing it to move its new building, which was being planned to be built in Sydney. Doltone House owner Paul Signorelli is celebrating, of course, after he forced the big tech giant to alter their plans for its new $80 million office building at the heritage suburb of Pyrmont. Joining me now in the studio is the owner of Doltone House, Paul Signorelli. Thank you very much for coming in, Paul. How long has this been going for?
Oh, over 12 months.
Over 12 months.
Yes.
Okay, so the plans that they took to council, the plans that you were able to see in the early stages, they didn't suit people in that local area, did they?
Well, they didn't because it's a boundary building and there's 4 windows. And I said, this natural light's going to be obstructed by this new building. They go, well, so all this consultant, I said, well, can we at least talk about it? And it was basically, no, we're going to pursue with this new DA. So
how many consultants did they have?
Oh, over 25.
25
yeah,
consultants.
This is a big heritage precinct.
Yeah.
The Revy building was the old Royal Edward Victualling Yard. So, and we're Doltone House next door.
Yeah.
And this small building called Arab Marine, which is over 105 years old, has never been open to the public. It was dilapidated. We bought it about 3 years ago. And our vision is to make a beautiful restaurant with private dining. And next, you know, this beautiful DA turns up on our doorstep and says, $80 million, we're going to build this mega centre, which is fantastic. But I said, can we have a little bit of a setback? And they said, well, what for? And I said, well, natural light, ventilation. And they ignored us. So
they were quite arrogant in the way they dealt with your concerns?
I would say arrogant, but also a bit bullish about the size. Yes, because they're a big company, Chris. I mean, and we're a small fish in Pyrmont. So, but it's good it's a good outcome for both parties now because we've come to a solution of a 1.2 metre setback.
Okay, so how did it go? They just put their plan straight in and lodged their DA and ignored you, and no doubt you had other residents on your side?
Of course, I had the local Pyrmont heritage people that, you know, we're there to preserve these buildings. And I own 5 heritage buildings in Pyrmont. And this is a standalone building, Chris. So this is very unique. It's a standalone building. So I'm very passionate about this project. And when I was ignored, I thought, no, I'm gonna pursue this. This is not right. It's not the Australian way.
But a lot of governments, Paul, a lot of governments don't get anywhere with Google when they're faced with these kinds of arguments and disputes.
Well, I used my humble approach and said, come on, guys, there's been some common sense here. So, but it wasn't for, I would say, the Telegraph, Ben Pike, who actually supported me. And I said, look, I need some exposure here. So, and that's where I think we got them to the table where we said, come on, guys, can we please put some common sense behind this, you know? And
so they've shifted the building how much?
By 1.2 metres.
1.2.
And it's over 5 stories high. So you can imagine, but it's good for their building as well because they get natural light as well. So both buildings, I mean, imagine someone putting something against your windows and blocking them.
Yeah. It was arrogant.
We've got a great hub of views, but this now allows the building to be a standalone as it was since 1917.
Yeah, and you've got to preserve that area because this is the heritage of the first part of the settlement of New South Wales.
Chris, my father arrived in Pyrmont in 1954. He was an Italian migrant. He ended up now owning the wharf he landed on, which is a great story, a great migrant story. And for us now to be custodians of this building and these buildings, it's longevity. It's a good win for everybody.
Okay, but you had to spend some money on lawyers to get this done, right?
Legal advice and obviously to and fro. I didn't go to court, thank God. But I would have taken it to court if it had to be that way. Yeah. I would have fought this.
You would have gone the whole way. Yeah. So how have they been now that they've lost and you've won?
Well, I think their own people, their own heritage people would have come to a solution that this is the best outcome. So without getting to probably head office back in America. So I think now they've realised that there was a better outcome for both parties.
And the fact that we do have an $80 million building that houses a tech giant like Google is a good thing for the Sydney CBD, right?
Chris, we share the same building with Google back in Darling Island next door, the other building near the casino. And we got on very well, but I think it just got lost in translation with all these consultants and bureaucracy in the system that they just forgot about the preservation of this building. This is a standalone building. And this new building, $80 million, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to house over 1,000 employees. It's good for the area. It's good for employment. But I just brought them to the table and say, guys, this is the right way to go forward. And they finally agreed.
They could have saved themselves a lot of trouble by just talking to it in the early stages.
That good old over-the-fence yarn and say, guys, what do you think? If that happened probably 18 months ago, it would have probably been better.
And did you see what we should explain to our viewers, that you have functions, you have conferences, you have weddings, you have big dinner events in the Doltone houses, and you know the area. You've been there quite a while, right?
I was there since 1998, Chris.
Right, okay, there
And we
you go.
employ a lot of people. We have over 300 staff, and we have a lot of visitations to the area. So, but now
You should have been consulting. Forget about the 25 consultants they had. They needed you as a consult with your experience.
I was one of the very first event centres in Pyrmont prior to the casino. So
Right.
it's a good win for both parties.
So you don't need to take the Google search engine off your computer. You
No,
still
that's
use
fine.
Google.
We're very good. A few people that work there are very good. So I think it just got lost in translation, Chris, with his consultants and the paper trail on the way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, a win for the little guy, David and Goliath. The little guy can win with people power, right?
Exactly right. Yeah. Thanks.
Paul, congratulations
Thank
to
you,
you
Chris.
and your family, and all the very best.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Yeah,
At the
see you soon.
restaurant. At the
Absolutely.
restaurant.
We'll get
Enjoy.
there.
Thank you.
Absolutely.